And we're live. I cut that music really quickly. So Tom, take it away.
Welcome to the TNM podcast with me, Tom.
And me, Mark. And today we are going to be talking about next gen gaming.
Oh, yes, we are.
Is that not
juicy,
right, Tom?
A juicy topic at the moment.
Juicy. I know, it's everywhere at the moment, isn't it? It's crazy. Everyone's loving it.
It's that time of the year that we know that the consoles are coming for next gen. And it's that sort of summertime where normally we'd be having E3, wouldn't we? We'd normally be having the big press conferences and the big announcements and the big releases to get us all hyped up. But been a little bit different this year from the way things have been structured.
Does that kind of make you a little bit sad? Like the way things are at the moment? Does it kind of change things enough to make you kind of go, do you know what I mean?
I miss the crowd atmosphere. There's nothing quite like a big stage event, and seeing the general reaction of everyone cheering and the oohs and the ahs when things are announced for the first time that you've never seen on stage on a big show. But at the same time, that said, I am enjoying the sort of drip feed almost. It's like, it's almost like a little advent calendar. It's like, what are we going to get today? Okay, right, today we're going to get this little bit of news.
Yeah.
Okay, right, that's awesome. Let's all talk about that. And then tomorrow, we've got another little bit of news. Let's talk about that. And it's different. It's very different to when, normally it's one day, big event, bosh. You get to see everything. Whereas at the moment, I feel like it's being spread out nicely. And I think they're doing an okay.
Yeah. I mean, trying to keep up with E3 as someone that's not there is mental because there's just so much normally going on. I suppose it's the same when we go to things like EGX and that. It's kind of that first day is just crazy, and you can't see everything. Yeah, absolutely. So no, that's I suppose that's quite a nice thing that's kind of come out of this. Then in a way, it's you get the news a little bit slower. You get to take it in a bit more. And things like
technology.
Sorry, go on.
As I said, with the use of technology, you've got that right. You can you can tweet now. You can hold your own events. We've got Xbox doing inside Xbox, PlayStation State of Play. We're going to see the individual companies now, like your Ubisofts, your EA. They're all going to have their own showcases as well. And individual games, just doing their own announcements. Like looking the other day, Tony Hawk's 1 and 2 remaster.
So happy about that.
Yeah, I used to love the Tony Hawk's. I don't think I'll pick up the remastered version. But I used to like Tony Hawk's when I was younger. The underground stuff, that was really cool.
Yeah, no, I 100% will be picking up the remaster. Can't wait to play it. It looks amazing.
Do you think it's hindered them by having to do it this way rather than the way that they would normally announce things?
It doesn't really feel like it. I think, there's less hype. Yeah, there's less kind of, like you say, the whole being on a stage, announcing a game, showing it big. I don't know. Is that stuff that good? I don't know. It kind of makes you question the way we've been fed stuff previously. And that stuff must be amazing when you're there, but it's not such a big deal when you're not, is it? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't really matter whether you're there or just watching it as a video. So
no, I suppose so. I think for me, I kind of I've underestimated the interaction of other people's reactions, if that makes sense. So far the announcements where we've had them so far online, I've watched them and I've been like, oh cool, that's cool, but you're not getting that. It comes up on the screen and then everyone goes, we've been waiting for this. We've been waiting before we really want to see it. And it just feels a bit weird to do that on your own in your front room. When other people are cheering, when other people are cheering for things, it's okay to get involved. But when you're there on your own, it feels a little bit odd.
Yeah, weird. That's an interesting one. But that's kind of the world we're in at the moment, so we kind of have to deal with it, don't we? But let's make the most of it, I suppose. If we're getting some nice gameplay footage, we're getting some stuff that we've never seen before, then great. So just can't complain.
That's what Jeff Keighley's done, right? He's so for those who don't know, Jeff Keighley is a big name in the gaming industry in terms of the presentation of things. So he deals with he's created the Game Award, which is his like baby that he's built up over the last few years. Used to be in like all game trailers and stuff like that. So where I first knew about him, and he's the one who has done the Gamescom opening night live. That was him thing last year. I don't know if you saw any of that. But anyway, so Jeff's basically turned around and he's gone and created a thing called Summer Games Fest, and he's gone. Essentially, what he's doing is he's taking everyone's announcements that they would have done at E3, and he's bringing them under one umbrella and doing it as part of his Summer Games Fest thing, and then doing it like a different announcement that he hasn't. From his own admission, he's making it up as he goes along. So like he said that the Unreal Engine 5, which I know we're going to talk about, that reveal was put together within a couple of days. Amazing. So he didn't know until a couple of days beforehand that they were going to do that. But again, like you were saying, with the situation we're in, with the advantages of the internet and being able to put things together quick, you can do that. You can adjust. And so yeah, he's taken full advantage and tried to turn, I think, a bad situation into something good, which could, I mean, there's nothing to say that once this is all over and we go back to how life was, if we can remember what it was like, there's nothing to say that we won't still see companies do this. They might be they might prefer this way.
It's a lot cheaper.
It, a hell of a lot cheaper, for them. No, but it's all really.
Yeah, and how much does it cost to have a stall at one of these game shows? You know what I mean? A hell of a lot of money, and then to be presenting on stage again, it's going to cost a lot of money. It's and now they just go, we just film you in wherever. Like I could be sitting in a front room for all anyone cares. You know what I mean? It's kind of those guys, and then the footage comes up. Do you know what I mean? So it's, I don't know where those Epic guys were in that video, but it looked a bit presented, like it was in an office or something. But
they're definitely told to make it look smarter than the Batmans anyway. That's for sure.
Okay, so let's kind of start the ball rolling a little bit. And there's no Stevie Gugal this week. Let me just put that out there. For anyone that's going, where the hell is Stevie? He went to a gaming expo and never returned.
He called coronavirus at E3 when everyone else, he didn't get the memo that it wasn't going ahead.
He was at the XL. Didn't realise it was a hospital right now.
Oh dear.
He thought he was going to be rezzed.
I think unfortunately Steve Gugal has he's gone. His days are numbered, aren't they?
He's numbered. Yeah, we'll have to find another guest.
Yeah,
maybe a real guest.
Hey,
that sounds like a good idea, doesn't it?
That sounds like a great idea. Maybe we should start getting guests on the podcast.
My lips are sealed.
Yeah, watch his face.
Right, so in your eyes, Tom, at this point, who is winning the next gen war? I don't think it's a war, but I'm going to put it out there to make it sound.
It's more interesting. It's more exciting for the listeners, isn't it? When you say war. Interestingly for me, okay, what I want to do is present this from both, rather than say who I think is winning.
Oh, even though that's what I asked you.
Exactly, Well, I'm going to do the politician's answer, and I'm going to dance around it.
All right, Boris.
The interesting approaches that we've had so far, I think, to start with, before, and I will answer your question at the end. I will definitely answer your question at the end.
Is that motorbike?
Yeah, this is how you can tell that the sanctions have been started. No one gives a shit.
Yeah.
My road is now just fully operational, or 24/7. The way the Xbox have done things so far, I like, the fact that they've announced again for that wow factor. That was at the Game Awards where we saw the Xbox announcement of the new console, the Series. What is it now? Series X.
There has to be an X in there.
There's got to be an X in there somewhere to make it cool. The announcement they did was awesome. that was a very much wow factor. Didn't see that coming. Everyone was excited about it, and seeing the console itself, I quite like it. I like it. I'm quite a minimalistic person. I like the fact that it's just, you know, it's just basically a solid tower, isn't it? From what we've seen so far. Not sure of the size of it yet, and how it will fit into most people's living room space. But
can you lay it on its side? I haven't.
I think you can.
Okay.
Again, so
that's the bit that will matter, because a lot of people won't fit it in their cabinets.
Well, this is the other thing, because the information that we were given was so quite a long. It feels like it's a long time ago now, because we got that in, what would that have been? November, was it? No, October, November last year.
Yeah.
Gap between getting the info from the Xbox, and they've really, from what we've seen, I mean, they've done Inside Xbox now, where they showed off a lot of games that would be coming to the Xbox Series X next gen, but they were like exclusives. The exclusive games are going to be coming, they've said, in a few months' time, a showcase on the exclusives. So these will be on the other consoles, next gen consoles as well. But the big play that they've been making, I feel, is on smart play, really pushing the idea that once you buy a game once, you get it for life, essentially. So if you bought it now on the Xbox Series, what are we on now?
Xbox One X.
I get so confused.
Yeah.
Xbox One Series X is a new one. You'll then own that going into the future. It's not for every game, though, which is, I think, worth pointing out, because in that showcase, you had a little pop-up at the bottom that said smart game. So it won't be for, I don't think it's going to be for every game. And the other thing that I wanted to get onto about that whole smart delivery service is it timed? Is it going to be a time thing where they're going to say, if you buy this game in the first year it's out, then you'll get it on all devices? Or I don't know, but there's still a lot of unanswered questions around that. I think not 100%. I'm very I always question everything that's given.
Very pessimistic.
Very pessimistic.
You gotta be
right.
Nothing's for nothing.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be, because they tell you this stuff because obviously they want to sell and shift consoles and whatever. But I kind of feel like you've got to ask these questions before you make your purchases, because essentially it's going to be a lot of hope. Well, hopefully it won't be, but we think it's going to be quite a bit of money for the next gen consoles. So Xbox, I won't go too far away from the question. Xbox, I think, have been a lot more out in the public eye, I want to say. Like their marketing strategy has been, let's get out there, let's try and push the console, let's talk about what we can do. So we know they released all the specs quite openly from an early stage, and we've now seen them do an Inside Xbox where they've talked about games. Granted, they're not their exclusives are going to be coming soon, but they've talked about what games you're going to start seeing on the next generation. I like that. But at the same time, Sony, a lot of people have been saying, oh, Sony haven't done anything. They're not really, you know, we don't know what the console looks like. They haven't spoken about any exclusives. Sony have taken a more interesting approach, where they have just released stuff within interviews or on websites. Not specifically for everybody to see, but just more like, oh, hey, we're going to talk about it with Mark, and then you guys are going to hear about it, and you're going to then come flocking. So for me, from a hype point of view, we've seen the Xbox console, but I feel like, and this is just me being, you know, it's my opinion. I generally feel like there was more hype over the PlayStation controller announcement than there was over the Xbox actual console itself.
I mean, does anyone... All right, people care what the console looks like to an extent, right? Because they need to know, like, will it fit in my cabinet is point one. Will it look good in my cabinet, and will it keep cool in my cabinet? So there's not really much that we care about, unless you're going to build a console that has sort of a transparent side so you can see the inner workings or stuff like that, where that's where people are going to care about what it looks like. I don't think the console really matters what it looks like, as long as it's a half decent size and it doesn't look ugly. Then, but the controller, on the other hand, you've got a lot of play, right? You can have all the different colors, you can have different. Do you know what I mean? Different types of controllers. There's so much that can come from that, and like Xbox bringing out their controllers with the paddles on the back and all these extra controllers have a lot of life in them. I think that's probably why there was a lot of hype.
Do you think it was a smart move as well? Because when Sony released this console, this controller, for those of you who haven't seen it, and it looks, all intents and purposes, it looks awesome. It looks really cool. It's got some loads of new features on it that we'll learn more about. But they released a picture of a white controller. White, I think it's blue. I think it was blue lighting with a white controller.
Odd choice.
Is it an odd choice? See, I don't think for a second that is the controller that you're going to get day one. I think that's
a variation.
Like you said, you can get all types of different ones. Yeah. I reckon that is a variation controller, but by releasing a picture of what would be a limited edition or maybe even a prototype version, it gets people hyped because they haven't shown anything, but people are talking about what colours the console are going to be because it's white now.
Yeah.
They stirred up a conversation by putting out a controller, which I personally, I'm probably wrong because I'm wrong on a lot of stuff, but I would put down a £5 bet with you, Mark, that is not going to be the controller that we get. You might be able to get
I'll take that. I think it will be.
You do? You think so? You think the console?
The console's going to be white and black, with blue lights. Yeah.
Really? Okay. All right. Here, wage. I'll shake.
Yeah. That side.
That side.
You have to keep going.
I will shake on that.
You saw it here first. Yeah.
I don't have a clue. I've seen the prototype, the dev kit one, because there's a lot of speculation that wasn't the dev kit and that was the real one.
Have you looked at dev kits of the past?
Yeah, they're awful.
Yeah, they never look like what the final console is.
No, because they want to put you off, right? So that's kind of why I was thinking about the controller. I'm thinking they know all they need to do is get people talking about the feature. The features will be the same, regardless of what colour the console is or the controller. But at the same time, keep throwing out these sort of red herrings so that it keeps you. Then when it comes out, you'll be like, oh wow, okay, it's not every time. It's not what we expected. Yeah. And I think that was my point. Sony have kind of done they've done little, but they've done a lot, if that makes sense. They've shown the logo. The logo's nothing. It's just PS5.
Yeah.
Xbox now have shown
another sensible thing they did.
Yeah, Xbox have shown us their intro music now to the system, which they kind of like leaked, and then we know what that's going to sound like now. Again, we don't know anything about Sony, about the PlayStation 5's homepage.
No.
Anything like that. So, in answer to your question, I think so far, I think Xbox have probably got more people talking about their console, but I know I'm reluctant to say. I think it's 50-50. I think Xbox have released a lot of information, but haven't really set the world alight. Whereas PlayStation have released little snippets which have really piqued people's interests and really got people talking. So I
answer the question, man.
I would say Nintendo.
Nintendo. We'll come on to that. All right, so
Nintendo.
So I think in my eyes, I think the fact that they haven't shown the console yet is an interesting choice. I think maybe they're just not finalised on how it's going to look. They might have.
They've got to be at this point. It's going to be right.
Maybe they're making tweaks. I don't know, or they are literally doing that to build hype. So like they're going to do a big reveal or something at some point. But it seems a bit odd. It does seem a bit odd because it is just console. Like, really and truly, are we going to go, I'm not buying a PS5 because of the way it looks? It's not going to happen, is it? Do you know what I mean? If it would have to look seriously awful and have to be massive for people to go, fuck that, I'm not buying that. Do you know what I mean?
I'll put that through my front door.
Yeah, exactly. It's just not going to happen. So I don't know whether it's an interesting move, and I think if they are trying to build hype, then I don't know, they're going the right way about it, I suppose. But
do you think it's as much been them trying to build hype as them having their hand forced by current events? So my other thinking was that the stuff that we've seen, right? GDC, so the Games Developers Conference, that was when we saw them talk about all the tech stuff, and it was really they made it a state of play, but it didn't really.
They went ultra geeky, didn't they, with all of it?
Yeah, it was too much info. But then at the same time, if GDC had happened the way it was meant to happen, and we saw this Unreal 5, this is the only problem we're talking about this, is because it's all spread out, you've got to kind of take little bits of information from everywhere. Because of this Unreal Engine 5, which was presented with Sony, with PlayStation, because they said this is running on a PS5. I wonder if that would have been at GDC as a playable demo, because it was playable. It's not a game. It's not a game that's going to come out, but it was. They said it was a playable demo. Would that have been there with the new controller? Would all of that have been merged together? But because of what's happened, they've had to spread this. They're now having to spread this information out. They may have had a completely different plan, and now they've kind of gone. They've kind of gone, well, hang on a minute, because we're not 100% sure we're going to hit now the release window of the end of the year for the console coming out. I know that they're saying there's not a reason why it won't, but surely they've got to bear that in mind. So they might just be thinking, well, let's just sit on our chips and wait, and then we'll just come out of the gates when we know we've got a solid release date and blow everyone away and let Xbox trickle out their information. So when it comes to it, Xbox will be like, well, we've told you everything.
Yeah, we've got nothing else to give.
Whereas Sony can then just go, here you go. We're just going to hit one. We're going to hit one home run and knock it out of the park. It's interesting to see which way. And then you've got Nintendo, who are just like,
well, we'll come on to that. They're just
not in the race.
Completely different. So I think I'm going to say PS5 is winning so far. That's my personal opinion. I think the fact that they did that Unreal Engine presentation on a PS5, that's one. Like, nothing's beaten that in terms of what we've seen in footage-wise and stuff like that, in my eyes. The controller, I prefer the PS5 controller so far. I don't know about the white. I think it's definitely an interesting choice of colours. That I think a black one as a presentation probably would have been a bit dull, maybe. And maybe if they were at a show, they would have had 3 or 4 of them in a circle or something, so that you could see the different colours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they probably went, you know what? Let's pick the most garish one that's going to make people go, wow. For our reveal. Do you know what I mean? So that might have been what that was all about. But yeah, so yeah, I'm in my eyes PS5 so far. Yeah.
I mean, it's difficult for me because I essentially do 100% of my gaming on PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
I don't want to be swayed by the fact that, you know, that's the console I use more than an Xbox. I don't want people to think that has sway on my opinion. I just think, like you said, the individual bits of information for me from PlayStation have peaked in hype more than the Xbox is just doing a smooth, casual line, and PlayStation is going, oh, hype, nothing, oh, hype, nothing, and that kind of. So that's why I was saying, it's for me. I think they're both doing they're going about it differently. That's essentially it. But for me personally, I still want to get a PS5 over an Xbox. If that's the best way to answer your question, I am more.
That first question, that was like the first part of this show. It's taken about 20 minutes. Just so you know, George is watching. Howdy, George. Welcome. He said it's very early days, but both seem to be underwhelming so far. And he said he's done a pukey face for the PlayStation controller. So it's definitely mixed opinions. Definitely, it's dividing the nation and the world so far. So it's interesting.
It always will do, and there will always be elements of people that it comes down to what you prefer. Like, you know, we get used to controllers over time, but for me, the PlayStation controller it just works for me.
It does look different. That it looks. It's bigger, rounder and bigger. It looks more like an Xbox controller, doesn't it?
It's not from. I don't know if you've seen the comparisons, but it's not a massive size difference. It is shaped differently.
Yeah, it's more curved, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not like huge. It's not a massive size difference.
No.
And they've got some cool features, right? Because this is the other thing. Built-in microphone in the controller.
I mean, it's a great idea. Great idea. If your headset breaks, your microphone breaks, it's that in between moment of like, oh, I've got to buy a new headset.
Yeah.
It depends how good the microphone is. If the microphone's crap, then what's the point?
You might not need to buy anything now because everyone from day one will have their own. But then at the same, someone was saying to me on Twitter, made a good point that I didn't think of. What about the button input? The noise of you clacking around on the controller. How is that going to be? How is that not going to travel through the mic, which is built into the controller that you're pressing all the buttons for?
There'd have to be some kind of noise cancellation to kind of get rid of that. But yeah, that's a good shout. And also, I don't see why, because if you're playing a game, you're going to want headphones on, right? Generally, and you don't really want to be shouting at your controller. It's an interesting one. I think what it probably is more is that will become apparent in certain games. You'll talk into the controller or whatever.
You think it'd be more of a feature than a use for players to connect with each other?
Yeah, and also for people that may, like I said, if your headset breaks or microphone breaks or something goes wrong or whatever, you've got that as a fallback as well. So I think there's a few different reasons for it, but I think probably it'll be more of a feature in games. I don't know. It is an interesting choice. I don't think they could make it a good enough microphone for it to completely replace people's microphones.
Having a mic, yeah. No, yeah. I wouldn't be. It wouldn't be my first choice of microphone, even if it is fine. I kind of just I like the setup that I've got now. I feel like that works best.
Cool. Right. So you mentioned Inside Xbox. I think let's touch on that a little bit because I think that's quite a good topic to touch on. I actually personally didn't watch it at all. So I've watched like snippets of games and stuff like that have come out of it, but I didn't watch the whole thing. So I think this is
live stream of it then once this is over.
I should definitely have been there live, but no, I wasn't. So next time there is a live thing like that, Tom will be watching it. So go to his Twitch. So there's a few games that were worth a mention. Ascent, I saw the footage of that, and I was not impressed. Like how they put that out as a next gen game is beyond me. It looks like an N64 game. Your thoughts?
This is where me and you, I think, might clash on this. See, I'm all for beautiful games like that demo. The Unreal 5 engine demo looks insane, but from me, I'm not essentially wanting to buy the next generation of console for a better looking game. I am much more interested in what they're talking about in terms of what they can do with the games. So the fact that we're going to have games that have no loading screens, that they're going to have games that can have more input into their environments and how they're going to play with that. So for me, like I watched the Inside Xbox, and I actually liked the look of the Ascent, because I just looked at it and thought, oh, it looks like a cool game. I wasn't I didn't go into Inside Xbox thinking I want to see something that's going to blow my mind. I wasn't expecting a jump from like, PlayStation 1 to PS4, if that makes sense. I was more expecting I wanted to be shown games where the only thing that what really let them down on that Unreal Engine thing was when they did the shimmying through the wall. Did you see that bit?
Yeah. But then they've said that wasn't a loading screen.
Yeah, but I don't want to see that anymore. Like, like in every game that is a loading screen now. Like when they do it, all you're thinking in your head is, oh, this is a loading screen.
Yeah.
Next gen, I don't want to see any shimmying between walls.
Yeah, I bet they really regret putting that in there, like, because that's the only thing people have talked about.
They didn't need to do that. They didn't need to do it, or at least have done it in a different style to that. But yeah, to answer your question, I quite liked the look of the Ascent. I thought it was top down. It's top down shooter one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it looked cool. My immediate thought was, me and Mark could play that. We'd have fun.
But I think the stage we're at, right, with next gen, is they should be showcasing things that we have not seen before, or things that really push the boundaries of what we've seen before. So that's where I feel like that Unreal Engine 5 demo did that 100%. Everyone was like, wow. And when they started talking about the triangles and everything else, hilarious. But you get the idea that, like, that really pushed the boundaries, and it was run on a PS5. So Ascent didn't. Yeah, all right. It probably is a fun game, but you could play. It looks like it's the kind of game you could play on a Switch. Do you know what I mean?
Is it worth bearing in mind that they said that the Unreal Engine 5 isn't going to be in use till 2021? So, because this is what got me thinking the other day about when they made the announcement that all games that you buy on next gen for the first year are going to be available on PS4 or Xbox Series,
Xbox One X.
One X.
Just say Xbox.
Xbox. They're going to be available, because in my mind, that kind of, in my head, I was like, well, what's the point then?
Yeah.
What is your incentive?
I don't think they've done this before, because
no.
There are certain games that come out on both, right? So things like FIFA, and things like
titles,
exactly, COD and whatever else, but they're broken down versions. So you have a crappier version, say like on the PS3 compared to what you got on the PS4. But there were PS4 games and Xbox One games that you couldn't get on the 360 or the PS3.
Yeah.
When it first came out.
Yeah.
So it'd be really interesting to see if they go along with that fully, because if there's no exclusives to the console, then what's, like you say, what's the point?
The console? Yeah. Because as well, if the engine, when they said that about 2021, because they said about Fortnite being updated mid 2021, so it's their engine, it's Epic's engine, and them themselves aren't even ready to update Fortnite until mid 2021, which means that by the time they get it in the hands of give it to other people to use, you're not going to see, I don't think, games of that caliber until 2021, mid 2021 to 2022. I don't think. I think that it's going to be a weird, as if it wasn't weird enough, I think it's going to be a really weird transition this gen. I think it's going to be a different, which is why I've got more, I think that's why my head went to being more interested in how the games are going to function rather than what the games are going to look like.
Yeah, definitely. I think also that will be apparent straight away. So when we say what's the point in buying the next gen, I think you're buying into future proofing, for one. You're buying into a new controller which has new features, and you're buying into the console itself being able to load all the games that you're playing now much quicker, and possibly even upscale them much better. So graphically we may see an impact there, whereas, because there'll still be PS5 games. They might be releasing them on PS4, but the PS5 version, in theory,
it's got to be way better.
It's got to be better, right? It's got to be quicker, look better, etc., etc. So I think that's, in my eyes, that's why you're buying into it. But yeah, it's an odd choice. Again, I don't know about that one. And is it a case of, I think it's like you said with Xbox, is it that you'll buy an Xbox One, a Series X game, will you get the Xbox One X version as well with that, or is it just that it's
pricing, right? So if they release, I don't know, make this easy. They release FIFA on the old Xbox and they release FIFA on the new Xbox. Are they going to charge you the same price on both consoles or are they going to charge you cheaper on the Xbox, the Xbox current One X, which you then could buy and then smart update it to the.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Makes no sense.
Could you buy a cheaper version of the game on the previous console and then get a free update to the new version on your latest console and save yourself however much different? Or are they going to have to cost the same, which would mean the PlayStation 4 games are going to still be as expensive as the PlayStation 5 games? It's just, I'm not there yet in terms of getting my head around how they're going to do this. I think it's great. Don't get me wrong, I think it's a fantastic idea in theory. It sounds awesome because people are not going to be restricted. You know, there's going to be games that are coming out, like now you've got Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, you've got Cyberpunk. People might put off buying those games because they're waiting for the next gen. But now I'll get it, I'll play it, and then I'll just update it once the next gen comes out.
Yeah, where are they making money then? Because they know you're going to buy the console. I mean,
I don't know, which is why
it's weird.
I mean, I think again going back to your thing about seeing the for a terrible phrase, but the prettier games.
Yeah.
I think maybe the exclusives. I think when we see Xbox do their Xbox Studios chat in July, I think they said it was, and then obviously Sony's going to have to do something. They've just announced again. So Sony now announced out of nowhere, just did that tweet about Sony Studios, about PlayStation Studios. So they're now going to have, which they already do, all their exclusives are going to come under the umbrella of PlayStation Studios.
Yeah.
So I think maybe you'll see the fancier games when they get talked about.
Yeah.
Because these are all third party. These ones are all third party games that we've seen so far. So you kind of feel like maybe they're not getting the access to the big, the bigger engines that they want to showcase their stuff on their console.
Right. So, it is interesting. It's kind of, I don't know. I think the more time goes along, give it a couple of months, we'll probably know loads more. Do you know what I mean? I think that's what's.
I will probably have to do a recap, right? We'll have to do this again, in
I think so.
4 or 5 months' time or whatever.
Yeah. All right. So for the next bit, I want to give you some names of games that are confirmed and some games that are rumored. Just give me your opinion on a few of them. Let's start with a couple of the rumored ones. Horizon Zero Dawn sequel.
Massively hyped. Have you played the first Horizon Zero Dawn?
I've played it, but I haven't completed it. Because I'm
that game. That game was incredible. The DLC as well. I played through the whole game and the DLC. Story was it was just one of those games where it felt fresh. Like everything felt. Even though it's a sandbox, I know it's a sandbox game. Blah blah blah. Go around, but. If the idea of it felt fresh, the twist of the story, and really looking forward to
a lot to live up to, though, right?
Yeah, a lot to live up to. Yeah. But just seeing where they take it next, because they left it on a bit of a cliff. They left it on a bit of a cliffhanger.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. So, but you definitely know the second one coming. You definitely do. There's rumours that it's co-op, right?
Yeah, that would be crazy.
That would be mad.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think of open world other than GTA. No, not even GTA. That was you switched your own. Yeah. I'm trying to think of a game now out of nowhere off the top of my head, which is probably going to struggle with, where it's open world.
There's not many. Well, you're thinking of stuff like WoW and stuff like that, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? Like,
no, I'm thinking not like an MMO. Like
MMOs. No.
I'm thinking like like Horizon, The Witcher. That kind of style of sandbox game. I can't remember a co-op. There's going to be one. Someone let us know in the comments. But off the top of my head, I can't remember one like that. So it'd be really cool to see what they can do with that.
Yeah.
So hyped for that one.
Well, I'll give you a couple of confirmed games because I haven't really got many rumored because I think they're all getting confirmed. A lot of them are getting confirmed now. What about Watch Dogs Legion? Did you play the original Watch Dogs games?
I played the first Watch Dogs, didn't enjoy it, so I never picked up the second one. Having seen the trailer and what they showed off of Legion, I'm actually quite interested in getting it. I just think it's a cool concept. It was a really well put together trailer. If you wanted to show off a game, that was a good way of doing it, I felt, and it definitely got me interested in playing it again. The first one was, for me, had a good idea.
Yeah.
The mechanics of the game.
I think it was just new, wasn't it? It was fresh.
It was just stupid. There was stuff in it, Mark, where like you jump.
It was stupid.
Water,
yeah.
You'd be being chased by police, and you jump in the water, and then they just leave. They'd just be stood there on the edge of the bank and just looking at you. And it's like this is just
as long as you're in the shadows, right? It's like an old school retro game.
and the main protagonist is supposed to be sort of like torn with this moral dilemma.
Yeah.
And then you could go, you'd be in a cutscene where he's like, oh yeah, I don't know what to do. I'm torn, and then you could literally walk across the road and shoot someone in the head that was like a civilian. It's like, there were little bits of that game, but technically the idea of it was really good. The actual gameplay, there were moments where it was really, really fun. So
yeah,
that's why I'm kind of interested in seeing. I am interested in seeing what that is going to be like. Yeah.
All right. Here's one that you
games.
Sorry, say again.
Your opinion. What do you think about
I really enjoyed Watch Dogs, the first one. I think mainly because it was something different, something new, something that hadn't really been done before. I think the whole idea of hacking things and the way you hack them, and there was never anything really to the extent that you could do it in Watch Dogs, the first one, anywhere else really. I mean, you'd had bits and pieces of it in other games, but not as a full game. It was glitchy and buggy and like you say, is stupid with the police and stuff like that, and then the storyline, but I think the idea of the game made it worth playing, if that makes sense. So I didn't play Watch Dogs 2 either, so I think it kind of feels like this may be worth playing on next gen, because clearly they're really pushing to make it the game that everyone plays. But I don't know.
George is just saying that Watch Dogs 2 is definitely worth a play. It's a massive upgrade on the first game.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. We've both got to buy it now then.
One for the back catalogue.
George has said so. All right, the next game, which I'm super hyped for, but I want to know your opinion. Dying Light 2.
Oh, massively. I had so much fun with Dying Light, the first one. For the 4-player co-op, I think it was 4-player or 3-player.
Mental.
Loads of fun. Yeah, definitely 100% be picking that up.
Yeah.
Having not had to see anything about it, I know that I'll be getting that.
And they've said it's coming to PS5. Is it exclusive? I can't even remember if that. I don't think it was exclusive. Was it? Dying Light 1 wasn't? Was it? Did it come out on PS4 first? I don't know.
Oh, I don't think so. I think it was just.
Because they've only announced it for PS5 at this point. So that was interesting.
Yeah, or maybe they've acquired it as an exclusive or a timed exclusive.
Timed exclusive, maybe. Yeah. Okay, yeah. No, I'm super hyped for that. I think the first one was amazing.
We need to play that together. That would be so much fun.
Oh, that'd be great. And if you can have like a squad or something, it would be hilarious. And
it was so easy, that game. You could just drop in, drop out, get involved in quests. Yeah, great game. Great game.
All right, next one, which I think was quite recent that they put a lot more footage out of, was Assassin's Creed Valhalla. What do you think?
I've spoken about this a little bit before, but Assassin's Creed, it lost me around Black Flag. I just got fed up of the franchise altogether. I was tempted to get back into it when Odyssey came out. But it's, again, one of those games, because of its size, because of how big a game it is. I didn't want to take the risk. I didn't want to invest a load of time into it again and then not enjoy it. So
people love Odyssey, though.
Yeah, I've put it in the back catalogue as well for one that I'll go back to play. This one, I think it depends on what else is out at the time. If it comes out in a slot, in a window where I've got a bit of time to really enjoy it and play it to its full potential, then I might pick it up. I'm very much on the fence with that one, because I think like I always am, it fits Assassin's Creed style with what they've built over the years with the boats and going conquests and different building brotherhoods, all that kind of stuff. It it does fit, which is what makes me think it could be good.
Do you think that the next gen consoles will give them the opportunity to really build that franchise even more than they have already, and make it? Maybe they've been held back a bit by the what they can develop for, and so this open world games, it's going to be on a new console with new hardware, everything else. Surely the sky's the limit, like with a game like
that is what I'm excited for. That's what I want. That's what I'm hoping. So I will see.
What about graphically, Valhalla?
Graphically, didn't blow me away. It just looked like Assassin's Creed. It looked like it was right. I think again the problem they made with that presentation was that they showed gameplay. They showed more gameplay footage from I think it was Origins than they did of Valhalla within that presentation, and they looked pretty. You couldn't tell. Like it was like, is that part of it? No, that's the old game. Oh Jesus Christ, it looks exactly the same.
At least downscale the old game.
The old one. So it's 8-bit or something. Personally, that one is. It depends on what else is going on at the time. But I may dip my toe back into that franchise at some point.
So I mean, there's loads more, but I think things like Outriders, Godfall, there's tons of confirmed ones now. So at least we've got.
Godfall, I don't know that much about, but.
At least we've got confirmed games, though. I mean, that's kind of what's looking good. What do you make of them talking about Fortnite? I know we mentioned it just now, but I don't think we're going to see much difference in Fortnite. I don't know.
You don't think?
Not straight away. I think when they go to the Unreal Engine 5, I think we'll see a massive difference. But I don't.
I think people forget how much that game's changed. I really do. I think if you went back and played day one Fortnite. And then looked at where it is now, I think it's like because they're constantly updating it and putting so much stuff in it. I think it's a bit like the analogy again with Xbox, where they're just constantly on this smooth line of we're adding stuff, not really noticing much of a change. If they, and then when you get to that chapter, when they went chapter 1 to chapter 2, it was like hype spike. Everything's changed. Everything's more colourful. I think you're going to see a massive change with Fortnite next year. Whether they'll change the content, I don't know, but in terms of how the game plays, but in terms of how it looks, I think you'll see a massive upgrade.
I can't believe it's still early access.
Guys, they need to drop that, don't they? They need to drop that. Ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous. All right, let's move on from games. I think we've kind of covered a lot. The question.
I'll point out two that came up on Inside Xbox.
Yeah.
One was the Medium.
Right.
I don't know if you saw that. That looked pretty cool. It's like a horror-esque game where you play as a medium who can see both sides, the living and the dead, and the world and the environment that you're in can change. So you've kind of got two scenarios to every one area, if that makes sense. It's what it looked like from the trailer. Second Extinction, which is a co-op game fighting off hordes of dinosaurs, and that looked like it could be a real laugh with friends. I know you love Torok. I know how much you love dinosaurs in games.
Bloody two rock.
Could be good. And then the other one was Scorn. That stood out for me as well. I don't know if you've seen any of that. That looks.
Yeah.
It was already on. It's been announced on PC for a while. There's been footage knocking around a bit, but that looks interesting. Very like Prometheus, Alien vibes, sort of weird one, but looks like it could be quite interesting to play. But yeah, I don't know if you had any opinion on any of those.
I think the only one I really watched was Ascent. So I've not done massively well with Inside Xbox. I keep seeing clips, do you know what I mean? And I keep seeing bits and pieces. Medium, now you mention it, I have seen a little clip of that, and it does look really, really interesting. I think I like to see games like that are just a bit different and not necessarily what we've seen before. I haven't seen the other two though, that you mentioned, Scorn and Second Extinction. I'll check those out after this, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, your reactions, that would be interesting to the trailer of that. I'd quite like to see if you what you think of it.
Yeah, I'll definitely check those out. Now, the question that we kind of came up with, which I quite like, you came up with, sorry, is what would you do if you were promoting next gen? What would you do differently? I suppose is kind of what we're going for, right?
Yeah.
So, go on. I'll
okay,
hear yours and then I'll go.
The way I'm going to, the easiest way of us doing this, right, is if we imagine we're still at E3. We basically, I've given you the stage, Mark, and I've said, right, Mark, I want you to go out there and you've got to sell me the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. Kind of, that's the setting, right?
Yeah.
So, in my mind, I think, did you want to take one and I'll take one?
Yeah.
Or do you want to do both?
Go on, you start.
I'm just thinking, like, for me, I'm trying to get into the mindset of what I think would sell, like hype and sell. Oh, and jumping onto the bandwagon of current things that are what's the word, that people are really enjoying this generation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I would have, like, for Xbox, I'd get stage goes dark. You get like green light comes up, maybe some smoke machines, maybe a little bit like smoke. Smoke comes up, and then what I would do is I'd have big explosion on the screen of the Xbox logo, but with the Halo music, like everyone's gonna be like, oh god, it's something Halo, it's something Halo, and then I would have no words, no instruction. You're just on a ship, and then as Master Chief, you get out of the back of the ship and you jump, and all you can see in front of you is one massive Halo ring that you can land on, right? And then you land on this Halo as Master Chief, and what it turns out is it's a battle royale, Halo battle royale. You can go anywhere on the ring. Is the whole Halo is the map, so you can go anywhere you can land anywhere on the Halo, and it like Xbox exclusive Halo Battle Royale, only on Xbox, like launching day one, free to play.
Yeah,
I think people would go mental. I think everyone would be like, oh, again, that crowd mentality.
Yeah,
I'm picturing everyone jumping out of their seats. Oh yeah, and then someone walks out and goes, oh, and by the way, we're launching it tomorrow. And then everyone will go, what? And you go,
and by the way, it's free with the Xbox.
Console. Look under your seat for the free console room. But yeah, I would come out with, if I was Microsoft, I would come out with that as my launch title. It's going to be on every single box. Everyone's going to get it for free, and have that as your building block, and go from there. That would be where I would start. What would you do for Xbox?
For Xbox, I had this image of like the original Xbox logo. Sort of. Do you remember that? It's kind of like it's like a blah blah blah. But do you remember the original Xbox?
Oh yeah,
logo?
like a blob.
Yeah, it's like a blob, wasn't it? That kind of moved. I had this image of it just being pitch black in the room, and then that appearing. And it kind of then forming into the new logo for the Series X. I don't think I can top a battle royale. I think you've thought about that one, and you know that I can't beat that.
Well, you could beat it.
I think for Xbox the killer things are gonna be Forza is one of them, where everyone's just gonna go nuts for Forza, and if it's a Forza game that just blows all the other Forza games out of the water and is exclusive to the Xbox Series X, that for me, like being able to show that footage would just turn people. Do you know what I mean? They'd be like, oh my god, I'm not going to get a driving game as good as this on any other console. But I don't think I can beat a battle royale with Master Chief. That's ridiculous. I'm surprised they haven't thought of that.
Do you not think? Like, I sat there.
Bananas.
I thought, surely it's how you've got to launch that console. And maybe that is what Halo Infinite's going to be. I don't know, but you've got to surely launch. Look at what you've got that's strong. What whether we like it or not, battle royales they're the in thing at the moment.
Yeah.
Put it on there as free to play, and that even for me, even if I saw that, I would be like, geez, I might need to get myself because I think that's what they need to do. They just need to go back to their original titles and think, how can we give these guys a fresh, what made us Xbox in the first place? What is going to get people hyped to buy a console again? For me personally, as someone who's looking at Xbox and not owning one, that's the reasons why I'm not. It's because they've done nothing this generation for me personally. Even with the release of the new Gears, I just thought it's just flat. Everything felt flat, really, really flat. But yeah, so that's how I would do it.
Imagine being Marcus in that battle royale as well.
Then Gears of War battle royale.
Yeah,
you could have gone Gears of War battle royale.
No, it should be an Xbox battle royale, and it's got all the Xbox characters.
Yeah, I don't even know where you begin with that, to be honest. Right, so Mark, I went first for the Xbox, so I don't want to.
I've got this idea, right? The guy walks out on stage and he says,
"This is PlayStation now, right?"
PlayStation, yeah. He's like, "You've all seen Fortnite Battle Royale. You've all seen Call of Duty Warzone Battle Royale. Now for PlayStation Battle Royale." And on comes Crash Bandicoot.
Jumping out of a plane. Oh,
no, you've set my mind off in a battle royale direction. I think I'd love to see something like a brand new Wipeout game, for example. Imagine this, like exclusive to the PlayStation 5, but the footage blows everything out the water. Do you know what I mean? So in-game footage, amazing on stage. Like you just imagine the ship going by. Do you know what I mean? That I'd love to see that. I'd love to see Wipeout.
Or something air comes off the stage and hits all of the audience in the face.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what's this? What's this? But yeah, I don't think I'm such a good hype man as you. They wouldn't want me on stage. They'd be like, oh god, who's this clown?
I think, for me, right, this is my PlayStation vision. Okay, right.
I'm ready.
You ready for this? You ready for this? PlayStation. Look, room goes dark. Room's always got to go dark.
It's got to go dark. Yeah.
Room goes dark. Original PlayStation logo on the screen. Yeah.
Yep.
It morphs into PlayStation 2 logo. Morphs into PlayStation 3 logo. So already you're like, oh my god, nostalgia.
Yeah.
What's going on? PlayStation 4 logo. PlayStation 5 logo.
Yeah.
And then it's that you realise that they are underneath it says, and then the PlayStation 5 logo lifts up and it just says PlayStation Legacy. And they start off the conference with you on day one when you turn on your PlayStation 5, digitally you'll have access to every single PlayStation title that was ever made from 1, 2, 3, 4, and it will say access to PlayStation games from 1, 2, 3, 4, and everyone will go, oh my god, complete legacy, backwards compatible. It's what everyone's always wanted. And then they'll go, but you will also have, and then the screen goes black again, and then it's like, boom, Bloodborne 2, boom, Uncharted 5, boom, Horizon Zero Dawn 2, boom, Spider-Man 2, boom, God of War 2, or whatever they're going to call that. And it will just be like, whoa, and there are 5 games. Those 5 games
on day one
will be the PlayStation 5 day one. I think that's a bit of exaggeration. We might have gone too far with it, but day one you'll get all 5 of those games, PlayStation 5, or they'll say these 5 games are coming on the PlayStation 5 over the next next 2 years. Confirmed, mic drop, walk off stage. And shut it down. Just shut the whole thing down.
That's it. You don't need to do anything else.
Bring the lights up.
And look under your seats. There's a free PlayStation 5.
that's what I'd do. If I was Sony, that is exactly what I would do. I
like the idea of someone getting out a PlayStation 1 version of Tomb Raider, right?
Yeah.
And then they take the disc out. It's all like whatever, quite slowly, and then they feed it into a PlayStation 5, and that's the reveal of what the PlayStation 5 looks like, and the PS1 game just works. Imagine that.
Yeah.
And then they take it out, and then they take a PS2 version of Tomb Raider.
Just someone really slowly and injecting games.
They're like, it works. Tomb Raider, PlayStation 3.
In it goes.
He's got a pile of 5 discs, right? Takes him half an hour to feed each one in, but they all work. Every single one works. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's how I would do them. I mean, let us know in the comments what you think of those launch events. I'd
love to hear it.
If you would get hyped over those. But that's how I would. But that's all I would do for both consoles.
Yeah.
I would go head to head like that, and I would just do it like that.
But they need it. Xbox needs it. They need something that's like a real, like that one big pull that's make people go, oh, I'm definitely going to buy that.
I'm really hoping that we get it. Genuinely, like even though I at this point I'm going to buy a PS5, I still love, primarily I love games. I love gaming. I want to see a strong PlayStation, a strong Xbox, and a strong Nintendo, which we haven't even talked about Nintendo.
We're coming to that.
Yeah, they don't even appear to be on the radar, but which, for all intents and purposes, we don't know. They could be on the radar. We just don't know about them yet. What would you do if you're a Nintendo?
What's that? What
would you do if you're a Nintendo and you've got a new console coming?
It would be the room goes black.
Right? This bloke with the smoke machine is like, he's making absolute killing at these events. Just one bloke
pushing the smoke up, and then the music comes on slowly. It's the original F-Zero soundtrack.
You're just going so niche for these games. Yeah, okay.
Come on, this is the one game that they have not made on a new console, right? The last one was on the GameCube. That music comes on, and then it moves into, and it's the ship, brand new F-Zero. Oh my god! I lose my mind.
Oh, brilliant!
That's 100%. I think you could get every Nintendo fan ever hyped instantly by just putting a new F-Zero out. It would be mind blowing, but it'd have to have the original music. Oh, God.
Oh,
what would you do?
What would I do
if you were Nintendo?
I haven't thought this one at all. If I'm Nintendo, new Switch. So what's it going to be called? Switch 2? Switch 2.0 or something? I don't know.
Yeah, it'd have to. I reckon they'll keep the branding.
What, Switch now? Because they've changed. Obviously, it's been Wii U, They always have to. Switch U. Switch U.
Switch U too.
Sounds a bit rude. If I was to say, room goes dark. Room goes dark. Crank the fog machine back up again. Crank the fog machine back up. Someone comes out on stage with holding the console. So it's the new Switch. It's obviously portable. It's the new Switch. But then when you think they're like looking at it like, it's a bit small, can't really see properly. And then they press a button on the back and you pull it out it's now like a 32-inch on your lap. And not only that, but it's visible. So what I'm seeing on my side of the screen, the crowd can see it on their side of the screen, on the back. And then what happens is someone just gets out of the crowd, stands up out of the chair in the crowd, and just walks up to the stage. And everyone's like, what is going on? Like, my mind, I can't comprehend what's happening right now. Stands the other side of that person, co-op, 2-player, one screen on one side, back-to-back screens, 32-inch pull-out screen, like that, and then all of a sudden they just stood there on stage, face to face, pretty much like smooching distance.
Did they then pull down like a stand, like a extendable stand, and then open their legs, put it on the floor?
Oh, it's 2020. They don't pull down anything. They press a button, and the stand comes down, spreads out. Not only that, two chairs come out of the stand, and the whole thing made out of cardboard.
Yeah. You sit on the chair and it just collapses. Oh my god! Wow, that's a good idea.
Yeah. And then on the actual game in itself, they've got Metroid, the new Metroid 4 that's not been announced, and the next Zelda, Breath of the Wild 2.
No one wants that.
Well, maybe just Ocarina of Time, but
yeah,
a remastered version.
Oh, if they did, if the room went black, and then you just heard the horses.
The ocarina. Oh yeah, even just the horse.
And then the music, you know, the Ocarina of Time intro music. Oh, with still black. And then it turns into Ocarina of Time 2. Oh god, love it.
Ocarina of Time, more time.
Oh god. Right. So there's a couple of things we should probably touch on before we finish up. I think we've already done like an hour and 10. I can't believe it.
We do talk.
So let's quickly touch on the cost. What do you think the cost of the PS5 and Xbox Series X will be?
I'm gonna go 500.
It's got to be 499.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 499, 500, 499.
Do you think that will just be the console with one controller?
I think it'll definitely be with a game. It'll definitely be a package.
You reckon?
Yeah, it'll be whatever the package is. I don't know, but it will definitely be. I reckon 500 with the one controller, console, and a game. One game at launch. I think. I know that we've run out of time, but we haven't talked on the spec and
I was going to just get onto that next, but
yeah. But I think 500 each.
You reckon they'll both be the same, or do you reckon one's going to undercut the other?
I think what they might do, which was we talked about this off camera, and it was rumored a while ago from Microsoft side. I don't know if we've heard anything about this from Sony, from PlayStation side, but I think you might see two consoles with the Xbox side of things. I think we're going to see the Series X, which is going to be their big bulky machine, £500 machine, and I think you might see a second console which is purely no disc and purely digital, because they had two. I can't think, it was Scarlet and Anaconda were the two code names.
Anaconda don't.
My Anaconda don't. Got to do the arms, didn't you? They had two code names for two different machines going, and I think you'll probably see maybe it'll be like, I don't know, like a £200 console that is just for digital digital only, like download games.
No way, it could be £200.
Well,
no way. If the main one's 500. Are you talking about playing the same games just digitally?
I don't know if it will be as powerful as that. They might be. You know how they've got like the Pro.
Yeah.
They've got like Pro now, and then they've got the standard. I think you might see like a scaled down version maybe that's cheaper and digital only. I don't know, but I reckon you could see £500 would be the price.
$399 for the digital one, maybe.
That much? $399.
$399 and then $499 for the one with.
I think you've got to make it.
It depends if it's going to play the same games. If it's going to play the same games and it's not like a pro version, then yeah, it would. But if it's like a rubbish version, I don't know why they do that. Then yeah, $250 or something, $300. Do you know what I mean? But I can't really see them doing that. That would be a bit nuts.
You're going to buy it just only digitally?
What's that? Say it again.
if it's £100 less, is that enough of a gap for people to be like, oh, I'm just going to buy a digital only console and not one that I can put disc in?
I mean, it depends how much the
just depends on how you consume your games.
Also depends how much the storage is. Like if the digital one has 2 terabytes of storage, for example, and the normal one has 1 terabyte, then there's not going to be that much difference in price. Do you know what I mean? The cost of a Blu-ray drive is going to be a lot less than the cost of 2 terabyte of SSD storage. Do you know what I mean? So, I don't know on that front. That's going to be an interesting one to see how that pans out. But I think PlayStation will just go with one console. And it sounds about right that Xbox might sort of bring a couple of different versions. I think it's stupid though. I think they should just go with one. And if people want it, they buy the one. Do you know what I mean? This whole digital only thing is kind of.
I don't think they may not do it day one. It might be like, a year down the line, you see this digital version of the console come out.
Yeah, like they did with the Xbox One X. Yeah. Right. Spec wise, just very, very quickly, I think looking at the specs side by side, they're very, very similar. Both 16 gig of RAM. They've both got kind of proprietary CPUs. I don't know whether they're both custom Zen 2 CPUs, so they're very similar in that respect. Speed wise, I think it's the Xbox has. Looking at this, the Xbox has more teraflops.
Oh yeah.
Just in case you wanted to know how many teraflops there were, the Xbox is 12, and the PlayStation's 10.28. So I don't think there's a huge gulf there. I think the only thing that stands out as being a bit different is around memory and storage. So PlayStation have come out with this idea that their storage is different to anyone else's, right? And looking at the spec of the storage, it looks like their storage is twice as quick as Xbox's storage. Feel free to comment and tell me if I'm wrong on that, but that's what I've read up so far.
Yeah, I'm not the tech guy, so I will not be.
But twice as fast. Twice as fast. That is like the Xbox is going to be stupidly quick to load stuff anyway, but twice as fast. That is ridiculous. Like that could make a huge difference to what we see in the games, and also things like the memory. If it looks like the Xbox has got quicker memory, so RAM, which will be interesting to see whether there's bottlenecks and stuff like that. But I think the storage question and storage in general has needed to be fixed like for a long time. We've seen it in all our consoles that storage is pretty crap. Loads games pretty slowly. Do you know what I mean? And even
that's what I'm most excited about, genuinely. Yeah. Especially from it sounds like a silly point of view, but for me streaming, when I'm playing games and I'm streaming games, every load screen is time that's taken out of my stream. When I've got when I'm using a fast travel, or if I'm in between a level or whatever, that loading time is taken away. It's minimal. But it will make a big difference because you'll just be like, boom, done, right, we're there. One click of a button, I'm on to the next bit.
Yeah.
I'm really intrigued to see what they'll do with it.
Yeah, I mean, I've got NVMe storage in my PC, and that's what these guys are looking at, but slightly different variations on it. And it is super quick. Like, it does make a massive difference. And even things like loading Windows and loading applications and stuff like that while you're just crazy quick compared to any of the other SSD storage I've ever had before. So it's definitely going to be a big jump in that respect. And that, I think, is where they're focusing a lot of their attention. But that seems like the only point, really, where there's a huge difference. I mean, it looks like the PlayStation has an NVMe slot, which is more storage to put in, basically, rather than having just USBs. An NVMe slot would give you the same speed hard drives, which you can extend. So it is something I think will make a big difference. But I think by the looks of what they've said the spec will be so far, it kind of takes the piss a bit that we're still sitting in this realm of 1 terabyte storage in both consoles. I'm surprised that we are.
Huh? Is that a cost factor?
Probably. Probably, but
at some point, I know that we're saying that these things are going to cost 500 quid, which is a lot of money for anybody to shell out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're gonna be putting cost into, or it's going to be costing them a lot of money to build these things. At some point, there has to become a balance where they say, well, hang on a minute, if we're spending 400, if it's costing us £400 to make a console, and we're only going to sell, make £100 on the console itself, you've got to find that balance, haven't you? Because also because these generations are now lasting longer, you know, £500, if it is that, is a lot of money up front. But if you're saying that that console is then going to last you 5 years, so essentially you're saying, well, spread across that time, it'll be I'm spending £100 a year on having a console. You know, looking at it that way, is it that expensive for what you're going to get? When you think, like, I don't know, your average phone bill or whatever that you're going to pay out for your phone is probably going to cost you, probably pay more. I probably pay more, or I definitely pay more on my phone bill over 5 years than I would do on a PlayStation that I'm going to use.
I just think they should. I think on day one they should have a couple of variations, and it to be around storage, right? So they should have the 1 terabyte model, which is the standard, and then you should be able to buy a 2 terabyte or 4 terabyte upgrade. Do you know what I mean? And it's an extra 100 quid or whatever it ends up being. That for me, in this generation where storage is paramount, right? Because every game is massive. Do you know what I mean? Look at Red Dead Redemption; it was ridiculous.
Oh, they're only getting bigger, aren't they?
Exactly.
Well, now Last 2 is going to be 100 gig. Final Fantasy 7. The remake of that was 100 gig. Call of Duty Warzone now is 102 gig.
Yeah.
It's, you know, the storage on these new consoles is going to fill up quick, and they obviously know that because they put in the means to extend the hard drives for it.
Yeah. I think maybe it's just a case of us saying to ourselves, how many games do we need on our consoles at one time? Do you know what I mean? Really, if each game is 100 gig, then we can have 10 games on there.
Yeah, well, that's what I do at the moment. I play a game through and then I delete it. But then if it's a game that I've downloaded, I know that it's there. That I can just reinstall it off the library. Then, like, I've had to delete Warzone to make room to have other games on there. But then as I play through those games and get rid of them off of there, then I'll reinstate Warzone, if that makes sense. And just managing things more.
But if the storage is quicker, then it's a lot easier for us just to reinstall games. Do you know what I mean? I think that's the key difference. Obviously, downloads of updates will still be the same speed because it's broadband dependent, but it will install quicker. So I think it'll be less of a problem to be removing and re-adding games. Because at the moment, if you uninstall a game and then you've got to reinstall it, takes bloody ages. Do you know what I mean? It takes so long.
It's copying and everything else that goes with it.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, that was sorry as far as I got with that. But I just think it's interesting. I think there's not a huge gulf. I think that's the key. There's not a huge gulf in spec, so it is going to come down to the games, really.
Where one is stronger in one aspect, another might be stronger in another aspect. So it balances it out a bit.
Yeah,
it's all about. I've said this. I always say this, and people can agree with me or disagree with me. It is all about the games, and it always is. You can have the most powerful console on earth, and that's great. But if you've got nothing on it that's worth playing, then you're going to go and play the console that's 20 years old but has amazing games. It's just there's no point in having all the power if you've got nothing that people are going to be playing. It's as simple as that. Which is why I think exclusives have been for Nintendo forever, and for Sony especially this generation have been their strong points. You know, people have just said, well, the games are here that I really want to play. My God of War, my Spider-Man, Horizon, Uncharted. All those games have been there, and they're developing them into series. Days Gone was another new one this year. I really enjoyed that. I hope they do a second one of that. I think that was really, for me, that was the most underrated game. I don't know why that got the criticism that it got. I don't know. It wasn't perfect. There were a few little bugs here and there, but in terms of its story and its gameplay, it was, I don't know, it was really, really weird. I loved that game, and I'm sure there's more excuses that I'm forgetting about. But yeah, I just feel like they need to get back to the games, because for everyone just needs to make sure they focus on delivering decent exclusives.
I don't think PlayStation have messed up on that at all. I think it's Xbox that have messed up on that, and I think it's Xbox.
I think they've learned from it.
Get back on that.
I think they acquiring all the studios and putting them together. I think they've definitely taken a look and gone, we may have messed up this generation. Essentially, we need to get back to what we do, and back to making quality games that are just exclusive to our console, as to why people should play on this. So hopefully we'll see more. We'll get an update on this. We can once we've got the announcements of all the games, the consoles, the prices, everything. We can do like another episode where we look at what we know now, maybe, and recover the ground.
Definitely. Well, I think we've probably exhausted the subject for today. I think I know I'm exhausted.
Oh, chatted. Feel like I can't stay awake.
But love this as always. Really enjoyed it, and I think it's a great subject because it's so relevant right now. There's so much coming out, and actually the hype train is building quite nicely around all of it. And I think I remember the hype train for the PS4. And the feeling that I had, like, wow, this is all new. I can't wait for this. This is going to be great. It's starting to happen for me now about PS5. I mean, I'm definitely going to buy one. I don't think I will buy an Xbox. I don't see any point if I'm going to buy a PS5. But then I've got my PC as well, so I can play those Xbox exclusives hilariously on my PC. So
yeah,
it's going to be interesting. But yeah, the hype is real.
It's real. We're getting there. It's nice to have something fun to look forward to.
Yeah.
In the next few months. Also, just want to say massive thank you to everyone who has listened to the podcast, on whether it be on Spotify or any other podcast services, left comments, got involved on Twitter over at the TNM Pod on Twitter. You'll be able to find all the links. I'm sure we'll put it in the links to the videos on YouTube as well. Thanks to those that have viewed the video, subscribed, left comments. It's been, well, I love doing this anyway. But it's also been really nice to see how many people have been enjoying it and been viewing the videos that we've started, because this is only our second one on YouTube. Which is saying, if you are listening to this on a podcast service, we are now live on YouTube doing the show, and then the show is archived to YouTube on our YouTube channel. So it's the TNM Podcast on YouTube. Worth checking out if you can.
Indeed. So I don't think we're 100% clear on what we're going to do for the next episode. I think that's one thing that's true. But true. There is hopefully, fingers crossed, there'll be a surprise in that next episode. So keep it tuned to us. Obviously, make sure you follow on Spotify or whatever it is, YouTube, subscribe, all the rest of it, just to make sure that you are there with us the whole way. But yeah, massive appreciation to everyone that's watching so far and listening. So yeah, I'm done for the day. I don't know about you.
I'm done. I'm washing my hands of the day. I'm done. It's over.
Oh God. Well, thank you very much, Tom.
Yeah, cheers, buddy. I'll speak to you soon anyway, and we'll hopefully speak to everyone, and everyone will hear us next time.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.